Hey there, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain. Thanks for checking out this beer review. We've got something from Banded Brewing out of Biddeford, Maine. For you non-locals, that's Biddeford. Biddeford. Yep, that's the way we say it here in Maine. This is Daikaiju. It's a double IPA. Now, Banded has gone through a little bit of rebranding lately. They've changed up their labels, made them a little more artistic. They also used to be known as Banded Horn Brewing, and they had a logo that featured two banded horns. We're talking, the old Viking horns. So I don't know what the hell happened there, why they changed up their logo and their name and simplified it from Banded Horn to Banded. I'm guessing there's some kind of trademark, maybe, dispute there. But, they're still producing some pretty decent beers, and I believe ciders as well. But Daikaiju from Biddeford. There you go. Two different really bad accent impressions in a row. You're welcome. It's a nice light beer. Especially for a double IPA. Typically I find double IPAs tend to be at least a hazy IPA. Ooh, got a good head on that one. Or, okay, it is slightly hazy. Although still lighter in color and a little more clear than I would have expected from a double IPA. The haziness is kind of swirling around in there, which makes me think that it might be due to particulates. But if so, there is such fine particulates that you can't tell the difference. It is unfiltered, so I'm thinking that it really is very fine particulates. Slightly effervescent. There's a few bubbles coming up from below. Like I said, I got a decent head on it because I got a good aggressive pour. But a nice hazy golden color to it. It's actually a pretty beautiful looking beer. It's very nice looking at it. Getting strong citrus notes. Follow up of pine. Now, I've mentioned this plenty of times before on the channel, but when it comes to hops, me in particular, I am keyed to citrus and pine, so I'm going to pick up on those more than anything else. Please excuse me as I smooth my shirt over my man boobs and my voluptuous belly. But yeah, citrus and pine. Very hop forward. It's got a nice medium mouthfeel. But overall, a very hop forward taste. It's like a nice juicy mouthful of hops, and then it resolves itself from an overall hoppy bitterness into a bit of piney, citrusy, earthy, and floral. It's a nice combination of all four of the major hop notes. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of grassiness and dankness following that up, but very hoppy. Very hoppy, and that nice medium mouthfeel means it's got some decent backbone to it. Overall, it's a really well blended, well put together IPA with a strong backbone. I think I'm only going to hit it with a 3.5 out of 5 though, because there's nothing really standing out and blowing me away about it, but it is distinctly, and definitively, a well blended IPA that's, above average. Now, I've said this many times on the channel before as well, but on a 1 to 5 scale, a 2.5 is average. So a 3.5 puts this distinctly above average. Again, it's just not blowing me away or impressing me with any uniqueness, but it is a well-blended, well-rounded, hoppy double IPA. It's got all the characteristics that you'd want from a complex IPA. Piney, citrusy, earthy, and floral, with also some hints of dankness and grassiness. Now, a few years ago, maybe even 1 or 2 years ago, I probably would have rated this higher, but so many other breweries are producing so many other well put together IPAs that this one's getting lost in the crowd. And sadly, that's the truth of things. You know, you can have a beer today that's a huge breakout and a standout and a unique flavor, but then 3 or 4 years from now, somebody else is going to want to replicate that recipe, or 3 or 4 other breweries are going to try and replicate that recipe and the results, and then you have a beer that doesn't stand out from the crowd like it used to. And this is a great thing because it pushes innovation, but the rapidly increasing craft beer industry also allows mediocrity. IPAs are so popular right now that a lot of breweries are just pushing IPAs out, and they're either dry hopping the shit out of something that isn't that great in order to call it an IPA, or they're just throwing a handful of hops into one of their flagship beers and calling it an IPA because now it's hoppy. That doesn't seem to be the case with this one. This was a very well thought out, very well put together IPA. But again, even though it's incredibly complex, delicious, and well put together, because there's nothing about it that stands out against other double IPAs that are doing the same thing, it gets lost in the crowd, and I only rated it at a 3.5 out of 5 versus higher. So, roundabout way of saying that it's a great beer, and my numerical rating is based solely on comparisons and other ratings, not necessarily on the merits of this beer itself. You should definitely check it out. After you do, hit me up down in the comments and the email link down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my assessment. Did it stand out for you differently than it did for me, or did you find that it was just a really great above average beer that gets lost in the crowd because there are so many other similar great, well put together above average IPAs, double IPAs out there? While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another new one getting posted. Till next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to my long-winded explanation as to why this beer rated slightly lower than it probably would have based on some other people's assessments. But for me, it just gets lost in the crowd, even though it doesn't deserve to, because a few years ago it wouldn't have. Alright, that's where I stand. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.